I'm winning now. Oh, I'm winning. Yay! It's always a good idea to start your week on a positive note and end it the same way. This Saturday is no different, as it marks World Day for Safety and Health at Work. It reminds us of the importance of health and wellness within the workplace. A positive mind and an illness-free body allows us to be effective in performing our duties, giving us the environment and energy we need to excel. Maintain your winning streak by taking care of your health and safety at work. Stay with us. I'm Sandra Clark, taking you through the pages of Jamaica Magazine.
The Electoral Commission of Jamaica, ECJ, has extended the validity of all voters' IDs. Yes, I said it. All voters' IDs are valid until December 31, 2019. Businesses are being asked to continue to accept voter ID cards as a valid form of identification. Don't worry, the ECJ will continue to process new and replacement ID cards until the new expiration date. For more information, call toll-free at 1-888-991-8683 or email eojinfo@eoj.com.jm. The Electoral Commission of Jamaica, committed to free and fair elections.
We start things off with the week's top news stories. Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week.
I will be dedicating time to follow through on this matter, and I do intend to periodically write to my colleague head to ask for an update in keeping with the commitments that were made.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness was talking to the Jamaican diaspora in London, promising to ensure that justice is served for the Windrush generation. Those Caribbean nationals who received indefinite stay to rebuild the UK post-World War II, but have faced deportation and detention due to changes in UK immigration laws. The British government is now taking steps to provide citizenship for and compensation to those impacted. Upon his return to the island, Prime Minister Andrew Holness broke ground for the 230-unit foreshore estate housing development at Delacree Pen in St. Andrew. All the units fall within the NHT's $5.5 million loan limit, and the Prime Minister promised other such developments to solve Jamaica's informal settlement issue.
We will solve the squatting problem because we will build enough housing to meet the demand that is generated yearly.
The Mining Ministry will be lobbying the U.S. Department of State to lessen any negative economic effects that may arise from sanctions against UC Rosal, operators of the Windalca Bauxite Company. Portfolio Minister Robert Montego told Parliament on Tuesday that government was prepared to take decisive actions to protect the interest of the 1,200 workers, contractors, local suppliers, environment, and the state.
The Ministry of Transport and Mining analysis indicate that normal operations will become increasingly difficult, especially if the company refuses to dilute its ownership to conform with the sanctions, and various suppliers of goods and services elect to refuse its business out of fear of secondary sanctions from the United States.
The Jamaican government will also be pressing its Venezuelan counterpart for a response to its offer to purchase the South American government's 49% shares in the Petrojam oil refinery held through the oil company PDV Caribe.
The lack of appreciation on the part of the government of Venezuela now and over the last 10 years of the importance of this matter to Jamaica, especially as it relates to our energy security, is of concern to us.
The Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, also made a statement to Parliament this week, confirming that 95% of services provided at the Cornwall Regional Hospital have been relocated to nearby locations, and refuting claims that the former Chief Medical Officer was overruled on a closure notice for the Cornwall Regional Hospital.
The then Chief Medical Officer, who has the authority, not me as Minister, he has the authority to issue a closure notice. did not issue a closure notice. He made a recommendation which was the subject of a meeting, after which he clearly stated that a closure notice would not be issued. And I think that is very important for the records, Mr. Speaker, for fear that some think that we overruled the Chief Medical Officer. We can't do that. It's not allowed in law.
Later in the week, Dr. Tufton launched a mobile app designed to cut waiting times to fill prescriptions at public pharmacies by allowing persons to send their prescriptions to the National Health Fund electronically.
What it says to me is that the NHF is responding to the clear needs that exist out there. They are responsive and sensitive to satisfying their patients, their customers in the area of drug administration.
Government has opened 2 additional justice centers, one each in Westmoreland and Trelawney, bringing justice services under one roof. They add to 2 previously established in Portland and St. Anne and are among 14 to be set up island-wide.
And these justice centers are not only very important for the people of Jamaica to get information as to how they can access justice, but also for them to become familiar with their rights, freedoms, and responsibilities.
One of Latin America's largest airlines, Copa, will be providing daily service between Panama City and Montego Bay starting July of this year. This will bring to 11 the overall number of flights weekly between both countries. Tourism Minister Dr. Edmund Bartlett says this is a game changer which will lift arrival numbers from several other Latin American countries. And finally, an entrepreneurship team of Career Advancement Program CAP students have created a lamp from recycled plastic which can also charge small electronic devices, an invention that copped them second place in the Diamond Challenge for High School Entrepreneurs at the University of Delaware recently.
As a responsible government and as responsible citizens, we have to find ways to address this issue. And what you have done as a social entrepreneur is to find a way to reuse plastics whilst at the same time providing a product that has great utility, particularly for persons who are energy poor, or persons who can't afford electricity. This is a good solution.
And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
Throwback Thursdays, Flashback Fridays, and right here on Jamaica Magazine, we have Social Media Saturday, where we join Prime Minister Holness in a recently held social media town hall.
Welcome to Jamaica House and our first virtual town hall for the year. This is really your opportunity to get a chance to ask the burning questions on the burning issues that you have. And I have assembled here today some support. I have with me the Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, and our newly minted Member of Parliament, Nigel Clark. The real challenge with agriculture is resilience. And so the government is now focusing on how we can build resilience in agriculture. And that is something that I have given directions to the Minister of Agriculture to do the necessary work and develop the necessary policies around. The Minister of Agriculture will have a substantial presentation to make in the sectoral debate, so I would encourage you to listen.
I think that it would be a great opportunity for medium and large entities to support small farmers in terms of facilitating storage space by renting sections of their facilities to farmers with the support of the GOJ.
A government that is constrained in terms of resources, it wouldn't make sense for the government to take its capital to put storage facilities in place. The idea would be to do one of the two I just mentioned, either to incentivize it happening or through moral suasion to get private sector actors to do that.
You would have heard about what we intend to do in Morant Bay, what we're going to be doing in Falmouth. There are other plans for Ocho Rios and Negril. And essentially, what we have found in examining these rural townships is that they have outgrown the physical infrastructure and planning that was initially laid for them. What we have to do is literally build in proximity to those towns new town centers, purpose-built, well-planned for smart city, green technology, and for easy access and traffic. And that we have 3 projects now on stream to do that. The policy of this government, and certainly what I stand for, is that public resources, taxpayers' money, should never be distributed on partisan political consideration.
The digital economy is critical for Jamaica to actually remain relevant in today's world. ICT is a critical pillar for economic growth and development, and as such, we have embarked on a number of initiatives geared towards that. You will have seen where the government itself, we have moved to a more inclusive approach as relates to communicating with our citizens. In fact, all government websites are now 0 rated, all 256 government websites. We started a program, Top 1000 Technology Advancement Program, that seeks to train and employ some 1,000 young persons between the ages of 18 to 35, where they'll be trained in ICT. And in that process, they will also contribute to nation building through the digitization of government documents. And so, as part of that program, they will also get certification from the Caribbean Maritime University. So it is a holistic approach that we are taking here as relates to creating that knowledge-based society, as relates to creating employment opportunities and giving our young people real work experience, and also giving them the necessary certification.
Are there any plans in the future that could see both political parties collaborating more and fusing together in solving Jamaica's issues once and for all?
We have now resumed the Vale Royal talks, which started back in the 2000s, which brought the 2 political parties together to discuss critical national issues and to come to some consensus. I've restarted that, and next month we will have our first meeting of the 2 political parties. So we are hoping that we can build a consensus on the way forward on critical national issues, which include some constitutional issues. But I'm also hoping that we could get consensus on policies, specifically on national security and on growth policies. Those are really policies that would have to be reviewed not just by customs but by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, having to do with our duty and valuation regime. And I think it has come to the level where those things would have to be reviewed. So my short answer is yes. One of the reasons why we moved from direct to indirect taxes is that it is an easier tax to collect than having to go individually, specifically to collect from each point. We have seen an increase in our tax revenues.
There's an art in how we use words to express ourselves. It may not be the Picasso way, but it's art just the same. Just as jilicking is considered an art, Jilicking is not as foreign as it sounds though. It's the art of throwing a flat stone across water in such a way that it bounces off the surface several times before sinking. Jilicking, stone skipping, art, words. It all comes together in our Saturday soup. Pretty much when you have lupus, you feel like you have the flu every day, but some days you get through it. I kind of take it easy, says Tony Braxton. Take note, she never said it was easy, but like her and Jacqueline Goulburn, who have been diagnosed with lupus, they find a way to make it through the many down days.
I was diagnosed with lupus in 2008, but from my own knowledge of what is happening, I must have had lupus all my life, as it were, because I've always been having symptoms. But the challenge that I had was that I was always misdiagnosed. And so that is the focus of my, the challenges in terms of, the doctors would think that I have something else and not lupus, but you'd have different symptoms. But I have systemic lupus, and lupus is not only systemic, but some persons just have what we call discord lupus or other little types, joint pains, and so on. But I have the full works. Well, I was extremely disappointed because I felt, oh my God, I have lived a good life. I have always been careful about what I eat. I've always been sure to exercise. I've used to be nice and slim and beautiful. And to hear that now I have this condition, I did not want to believe. And then it got worse after the diagnosis. You know, I had periods where I couldn't work at all. There was a 4-year period in my life that I never worked. I just couldn't work. I was just always sick. I was always in hospital. Sometimes I'm in intensive care, sometimes I am unconscious, sometimes I'm all kinds of things. So it has not been a very wonderful ride. In 2014, I became, my kidneys stopped working. So I was now in renal failure. And it means that I now have to go to dialysis. So there were days when I would just be so weak. My blood count, that's HB, would fall to a very low level. I had to get blood. I had to look at what I eat. I had to look at how much I do. I had no energy most times. I couldn't do anything. I just had to lie down in my bed. So just different things. You couldn't walk sometimes. Sometimes I can't talk clearly. Sometimes I can't see. Sometimes my hands are so sore and I can't use them. Sometimes just different things. My lungs would fail. Different things would happen. So I've been through the ropes. I have good family support. My husband is extremely supportive, my son. So I have them. And I have good friends. Good friends, the saying goes, good friends are better than pocket money. Then there's also the Lupus Foundation, which is important. There is a support group there. There are excellent rheumatologists there who will provide advice and help and care and just information. There's a whole host of books and tapes and all kinds of things that you can get information from. There is also the website that you can look at and get information as well. I've actually gone for job interviews and I know I don't get a job not because I'm not qualified, but because I have lupus. So employers need to understand that people living with lupus can actually contribute and, you know, make adjustments. There are days, for example, after dialysis that I will come to work a little bit late, but I will work later to make sure that the time is there. I have learned that it has no boundaries, it has no behavior, it has no conscience, it has no purpose, it has no time. It does what it chooses to do whenever. And therefore you need to be aware of yourself and what are some of the things that are your triggers, and therefore try to manage and monitor those. You must also be mindful of the medication that you have to take and take them carefully and take them well. You should also be mindful of your appointments with your doctors and make sure that you keep those appointments. I would say to you, help is available. Find some help, find some support. Talking about it helps. Don't feel that it is you are, because you're special or you're being punished why you have lupus. But recognize that this is something, this is just another thing that could happen to anybody. Anybody, color, class, or creed, rich or poor, man or woman. There are more women with lupus than men, but men have lupus as well. And so be aware of the symptoms, get help, get treatment. Don't hide away. Don't think that people obey you, because Jamaica is famous for that. But know that this is a condition that can be controlled. It cannot be cured. It can be controlled, and you can maintain a healthy life. Seek to work, seek to be involved, do what you're doing, treat whatever is happening. If it's depression, get it treated, get treatment, get help. Help is available.
To learn more about lupus, contact the Lupus Foundation of Jamaica via their website lupusfoundationjamaica.org or 754-8458. You may also visit them at 7 Barbados Avenue, Kingston 5.
Benjamin Franklin said, "In wine there is wisdom, in beer there is freedom. For us though, with an orange peel top note, a dash of nutmeg, ginger and spice in rum, there is joy."
Welcome to the Joy Spence after this day from experience.
It's absolutely amazing, isn't it?
It is.
I'd like to just take the opportunity to welcome you to this particular discussion. And I know it's over 25 years since you've been in the business, but we want to go back as far as we possibly can to early days. Where did you grow up, and what was life like for you? What were your dreams and aspirations?
Well, I grew up in Kingston, although I was born in Manchester, but we moved to Kingston at about age 2. And I attended micro-practicing primary. Then I went to Holy Childhood High School, and that's where I fell in love with chemistry because of my chemistry teacher.
Right.
So I decided that I wanted to become the best chemist there is in the world. And so I pursued a degree in chemistry at the University of the West Indies, where I graduated with a BSc in first class honors. At that point, I thought I probably would be in a research laboratory.
Yes.
But I actually went back to my alma mater and did a stint of teaching in chemistry for the upper school. Then I lectured at the College of Arts, Science and Technology.
No, you take.
No, you take.
Yes.
And decided that I wanted to get some manufacturing experience. So I joined Tia Maria as a research chemist. Then I became very bored because it was a one-product operation.
Yes.
And Gira Navy is right next door to Tia Maria. So in my hours of boredom, I'd look across the fence and I would see tankers rolling in, people looking very busy. And I said, oh, that's a very interesting place to work.
Right.
So I sent in my resume and they invited me over for an interview. They interviewed me and said, well, actually, we do not have a position available, but we were so impressed with your resume. So I left and I said, okay, nothing tried, nothing done.
Nothing done indeed. And this
So-
was 1981.
1981.
Good, yes.
So 2 weeks later, they called me and said, we created a position for you, the position of chief chemist. And this is when I fell in love with rum, because I never drank rum before that time. And so I started to work with the previous master blender and became so fascinated with the whole art of blending and sensory analysis. And this is what led me to where I am today.
How were you able to navigate your way through this particular industry that is considered a male-dominated profession?
Well, first of all, I understudied the previous master blender for 17 years.
Yes.
So everyone in the industry knew that I was understudying him. So when he retired, I was appointed master blender. And it was at that point in time where we did our research that we realized that there was no other female in the entire world that was a master blender.
Right.
And I said to myself, I never thought that I would, you know, have accomplished anything as great as this, being the first woman to actually shatter the glass ceiling for other women.
Right. How did that make you feel after being appointed the first female master blender?
You know, I didn't believe it at first, you know. I
Right.
said, I wonder if they had the research right, you know, because I was never ever looking at that when I was working with the previous master blender and understanding him. I just wanted to become the best blender there is.
Right.
And it was very proud to be a Jamaican woman having achieved this.
And so a rare 25-year-old rum, aptly named after you, Joy. Tell us about that and what went into that and how did you feel about having a beverage being named after you?
I selected my favorite 25-year-old pot still rum. So it became the heart and soul of the blend because it had this amazing orange peel, nutmeg and ginger notes. And I combined it with other rums to create this magnificent blend. So overall, this rum now has the amazing orange peel top note intertwined with ginger, nutmeg and spice, finishing with warm vanilla, coffee and coconuts with this amazing brown sugar finish. Just absolutely delicious.
But how does it feel to be described as a visionary craftswoman extraordinaire?
It's a humbling feeling,
Yes.
it's a proud feeling, and importantly, I like to, you know, encourage young women who are looking at a profession to think outside the box and to look at how you can apply chemistry in very interesting fields such as the one that I am in.
I know that the words that you've given will no doubt empower so many lives in a profound way. So thank you so much for talking with us. and I
Thank
wish
you for having
total
me on your
blessing.
program.
On our roads, remember, take time, be courteous, drive good, walk good. Don't drink alcohol and drive. Don't drive tired or sleepy. Don't tailgate and don't overtake unless it is safe to do so. And always drive at a speed which will allow you time to stop quickly and safely. Let's keep it safe on our roads.
One final thing before we leave. For some of us, our work is or takes us on the road. While you are, be aware, stay focused as our behavior on the road can save lives. Until next time, keep winning, keep living your best life, and keep sharing with us on our social media sites. And Sandra Clark, take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.